Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 40 minutes to another video. All right, so I'm coming here today because I only heard a snippet, so I didn't get the entire context. I don't know that I need the entire context, although that can start off the wrong way most of the time. But I think you guys will follow me. Hopefully, I don't embarrass myself. All right, so I'm watching Kanye West, and he's having his media tour, whatever. He's doing his tours. He's been on Piers, and he did the whole thing where he called Piers broke in more or less ways and all of that, and Piers was telling him to apologize, and yeah, he's like, nah, I'm not apologizing for nothing, etc. Now I'm watching him on another platform, and he's essentially coming to the defense of white males, saying that white males can't do certain things because of the presence of certain uh, racial circumstances that would otherwise make it so that they're cancelable if they do certain things, or if they try to speak out against certain things, they get in trouble. Um, in trouble that maybe others wouldn't get into because of the presence of them being white males in this very, very, very cancelable place. There's two things I think he's doing when he's doing that. The first thing I think he's doing is trying to get into office. He knows that he's going to need the grand majority, and the grand majority are Caucasian males. So if he doesn't find a way to win them over as a black male from the other side, there's no possible way he can even get in a position to be a candidate. So he's got to be able to win them over, and he's been working on that probably for about 8 years since he put that damn hat on. So this is just an extension of that. And the second thing he's doing is the same thing I've been saying that he's been doing the whole time, which is trying to help black people see how lost they are in the confusion of the circumstances from which we've been in. A black man is going to be attacked by his own people for saying what Kanye West said. And that is why Kanye West said it. A black man's going to be attacked by his own people for putting on a White Lives Matter shirt, and that's why Kanye put on a White Lives Matter shirt. He's trying to show us how lost we are in the confusion of the hatred that was placed here before us. There should be no reason why a black man or any man of any kind in any place can't identify an imbalance and just tell the truth about that imbalance. If you guys follow me very, very closely, somewhere in the back of this channel, somewhere in one of them videos, you're going to see me do the same thing that Kanye did. You're going to see it because I've done it. I've literally done that. I've pointed out certain injustices that I see that white males have had that maybe I can get away with because of the presence of the racism in place that has otherwise made it so that now they can be considered the target for all things cancelable. It's a fact. It's a fact. It literally is. We know that's a fact. Kanye's identifying something that is true that we can all see. But it's not okay for him to identify it because black people had it worse. You see how confusing that is? That doesn't make any sense. That's never made any sense. We are reinforcing the presence of the same thing that we otherwise resent when we put certain things above us or put certain things below us because of our experiences. It's the same reason why I'll come here and try to talk up certain things that I think will help people in positions that have 30, 40, 50 million times more money than me. It's the same reason. It's the same reason why I come to you guys and I tell you that I'm from an environment where you can have all the money in the world, but because of your affiliations, you may still be answering to someone that has significantly less money than you. It's because I understand that money ain't everything. Power ain't everything. None of that is anything because we can't control what happens next. For all we know, tomorrow's going to be a 180-degree weather day, and we had better survive it. Rich or poor, you better figure it out. So that's why I don't look at human beings as to say, you don't have as much as me, so I can't help you. Or you're in a position where you've been through worse than me, so I can't, there's no reason for you to come to my defense if for some reason you decide you want to. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all. Just because I've been through hell and I see somebody going through some semi-hell doesn't mean I can say, damn, I wish they weren't going through that. No. That's the logic we engage in when we do this. And he's trying to show us our hypocrisy by doing that. And trying to get in office. I think it's very important that people understand where Ye is trying to be when he's doing the things that he's doing. That's why I get on this camera and I speak the way I speak. I have held him accountable for what I think is ultimately him being selfish. and not being happy with how certain things are going. So now that's prompting him to move. But that doesn't mean that him moving isn't something that we don't need. That doesn't mean that the tree he's barking up ain't the tree that we need somebody to bark up. And what I'm telling you guys is Kanye West is doing stuff that is very difficult to understand. But I'm watching how he's moving, and I'm paying attention to the meat and potatoes. One of my favorite things to say of what it is that he's been talking about. And the things that I've been paying attention to that have been coming out of his mouth that are not controversial but very important is the mobile farming service that he's working on. And the various things that he's got going on with the collaborators who've started that process up. That's important. His shelter and the things that he's trying to create in terms of shelter and the innovative ways that he's trying to implement different scientific ways of providing shelter and as I said, mobile food and things of that nature. He's trying to get involved in science. He's taking his money and he's putting it in things that can help feed and shelter human beings. That is the only thing we need to be focused on, because everything else is coming out of his mouth. He's an entertainer. He's an entertainer. He's a politician. But what he's trying to do is put himself in a position to do things that need to be done on this planet to feed people who need to be fed. So just like I always say, as I think I'm speaking to any and everybody, if you're someone in position to cancel somebody, especially if you're offended by certain things that they're doing, but you know what I mean, but you can understand that there may be some good, because you may hear somebody like myself saying there's some good. Find the balance in what you're doing by, in my opinion, finding what it is that he's doing that's good and becoming a part of it yourself, or finding something like that and being a part of it yourself. If you can't get what something that a guy is saying, and you're going to cancel him and you're going to use your power to silence him, the only balance within yourself, in my humble opinion, is to find something good and do that. Because if all you're going to do is silence somebody, and then you're going to turn around and not do anything in regards to bringing forth a positive energy, then we need to understand that all we're doing is erasing. We're not providing anything. That's what the cancel culture is love to do. It takes stuff away, but it ain't giving much of anything. You love to tell us what we can't hear, but are you providing anything? Or are you just responsible for telling people that they shouldn't be speaking whatever it is they want to speak? And see, that is necessary in some cases. I get it. Some people spewing stuff that can really be harmful for others, but we need to understand there are also people out here who just are in positions that no one else has ever been in. This is the presence of what we're in right now. A world where a guy like Kanye West, it's very clear that no one else has ever walked in the shoes he's walked in. So you're not going to hear anybody talk about the things he's talking about. You're not going to see anybody be in a position to be offended by the things he's been offended by, because most of the people that have been as talented as him or as famous as him has never been as rich as him to be in those rooms. Or if they was rich as him, they weren't as talented as him, as famous as him, or as has the eyes of the world like he does. Or if they had all of that, they didn't have the money. Or if they had all of that, they didn't have the talent. It's like, how many people have you seen that have been in a position to see the things that he's seen? Who's to be in the positions that he's in, to have the opinions that he has? It's unique to itself. So when I look at him and say he's not behaving like I would say, who has ever been in his shoes? Who has ever related to what it is he's going through? I don't think so. So you have to trust the perspective is a unique one. A unique one all to itself. I look at him like the first man born with wings. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know what that feels like. None of us do. But we can surely listen to his perspective and learn from it as something new. And so that's where I'm at in regards to him. I'm open-minded, even though I think he's got some things wrong. He's engaging in the wrong energy. But I also know that life is like this. And the more you do, the more you learn. And sometimes you learn and it's like, damn, I made a mistake. But like, people are still harping on their mistake and you've just learned it. You know what I mean? So it's like, I kind of get the sense that Kanye may be going through a little bit of that, especially with that George Floyd situation. Because I truly believe that he should pay that $250 million to George Floyd's family. I think he should do that. I think he should do that because that's a fraction of what he has. He can do it. It's not going to hurt him to do, like most. And two, you really do. All of us really do need to learn. And I was listening to Doggy Diamonds. Shout out to Doggy Diamonds in New York, who gave us this wisdom. You can't be shooting from the hip, dog. You can't be shooting from the hip. And I'm bad at that. I'll be the first one to admit and tell you guys that's a weakness of mine. I do it all the time. I shoot from the hip. I don't do as much homework as I need to do. I don't always find myself as thorough as I need to be, and I find myself apologizing on this damn channel because of it. But that doesn't mean at all that I don't find myself right a couple times when I trust my intuition, you know what I mean, or find myself barking up the right tree or what have you. You know, there's balance to be found in all of that, all of it. And I think Kanye, there's some balance to be found too. I see what he's doing, and I think he's made a couple mistakes. I think he may have trusted some people he shouldn't have trusted. And I think he's also barking up the right tree in what he's doing. I think he's also got his emotions wrapped up in it. I think some of the stuff he's saying, he don't mean like that, but I think people are hanging on his every word. Some of the stuff he's saying, I don't even think he really even thought it all the way out, to be honest with you. Like that George Floyd thing. You know the way he was talking in the camera to me? Like a dude who saw a documentary and saw something fishy in that documentary and was like, bro, I'm telling all y'all, that look fishy. And you know what could very easily fix that? Somebody saying, nah, bro, check this out. Look at the paperwork. Yeah, that did look kind of funny though, huh? Yeah, it looked kind of funny, but nah, that ain't what it is. That's as simple as that should have went on the Drink Champs. That's how that should have been handled. Nori should have said, nah, bro, no, that's not it. Here, this is what we're looking at. This is why I think your information's wrong. That way, it wouldn't look like he's definitively making declarations that George Floyd this, George Floyd that, and the family this. As opposed to him just being some dude in a room full of people drinking and smoking and talking about something that they weren't really sure about. That's exactly how that went. And he just popped off his mouth as if the camera wasn't on, saying, nah, stuff this, that, and the third. And that's irresponsible. And of course, people are in a position in this world where they're gonna sue you, and they know what you're worth. They're gonna take a big chunk. So, my opinion about the Floyd family suing him, that's a whole nother tired different thing. I don't really know where to go with that. But as far as whether or not Kanye should pay that, write the check. Write the check. You got to. You gotta write that. Whether they wrong or right, this lesson needs to be learned. You can't shoot from the hip. Can't do it. Can't shoot from the hip, especially when you're initiating the pain of others. So while I support Kanye West on everything that I understand that he's doing, I also support him having to write that damn $250 million check, settling that out, and just letting that be a $250 million lesson. That if you're going to be using stuff like that, documentaries from different people, stuff like that, and you're going to be standing on a platform this big, yeah, you got to make sure that what you're saying has every bit of the paperwork behind it. And if it does, then you won't have to settle, because there's no reason to settle, because there's nothing for you to have to deal with. But in my mind, what he did there, yeah, I'd probably sue him too. I probably would. I'd probably sue him too. You know, but I don't know that he's the right person to sue. He didn't make the documentary. We know who made the documentary. That was Candace. So, but at the end of the day, you're plugging Candace's platform. Candace is in our face because of Kanye. And Candace ain't got $250 million. Yeah, he do. So he gonna have to pay that. Just being honest. Exactly how I see it. You gotta pay that. Life ain't fair, but neither is the statements that he made. They weren't fair either. So that's exactly how I feel about that. He should cut the check and pay it off. And another thing I want to say in regards to Kanye West is I think he should give some prayer to books. He said that he stays away from Brussels sprouts, stays away from books like they are Brussels sprouts. And I truly believe that I got the same problem in a way, but I learned to love reading as a young person, so I know I can snap back into it and should. But the thing that I understand about reading is there's certain things in doctrine that provide context. Especially old doctrine, old stuff like that, books and things of that nature, they provide context. Context that you're not going to find in conversation. Sometimes context you won't even find in experiences, because they're unique experiences to someone else's perspective, and that of which that perspective is unique because of the position that they find themselves in the world. So they might have went through what you went through, but that experience is in that book from that person. So I truly believe that books, even though there's a lot of lies in a lot of books, what ends up happening for me when I read, if I start the process of getting used to reading books, what ends up happening is my mind becomes more expansive in regards to visualizing things. Just myself. I don't know how everybody else's mind works. But it was a point where when I first started really getting into reading, it was one of those things where it was very difficult for me. Like trying to stay focused on it. Or even now, for example, if I try to read a book, I'll find myself reading 2-3 pages, and after a while my mind, the thoughts in my mind are louder than the words in the book. I'd imagine a guy like Kanye probably has something like that going on because he's a audio person, so he hears things. So there's music in his head probably. Then he sees all these different things. He's a genius, so he has all this stuff going on in his head. So chances are, trying to focus on the words when there's nothing to listen to and there's nothing visualized, just words, it gets boring and he probably spaces out. That's what I think happens to a lot of people who are not used to reading, who are very, very complex of mind and thought. You know what I mean? Because it makes you centralize to just words. And that, for a mind like myself, if you're not used to it and you're not in the practice of it, it's like pulling teeth. It's like pulling teeth. Silence can be deafening for people like myself. That's why you always hear the fan on and stuff like that. It just, you want to hear something. You want to see something. It's just how the brain works when you're like this. So if you didn't grow up reading and you didn't love reading and you didn't do it all your life, now it's going to be very difficult to do. But I think a lot of times when people don't read, they miss some of the context that helps them understand the fullness of what it is that they're looking at. You know what I'm saying? It's context. And it's an agreement amongst others who've read that helps you have an understanding that isn't found without reading. So it gets easier the more you do it. It's good for you, right? Depending on what you're reading, obviously. And this is good for the practice of overall disciplining the mind against the weakness of not wanting to do so. No different than picking up a weight and starting the process of starting your workout plan. The first day ain't gonna be nothing, but it ain't gonna be easy. But as you go on, it's gonna get easier. And then you're gonna find yourself needing it, and then you're gonna find your mind opening up in ways it never did. A guy like Kanye West should definitely take that first step and see what he's been missing all this time in the practice of reading. I think he will find that he's been missing something his entire life by not doing so. I think he will find that out. So yeah, I would encourage him to start that process and don't be afraid of it. Not be afraid of it, and don't. And anybody wants to start reading, don't overwhelm yourself. You don't have to read a 700-page book, bro. Grab a Goosebump book or something. Start small. Get your mind used to looking at them damn words. Get your mind used to zoning out into those words as opposed to away from those words. And as you zone away from those words, reconvene and start again. The more you read, the less likely those zone moments will take place. So, completely and utterly assuming, I think Kanye West has frustrations with reading. I do. I think it's a frustration thing. But I think he would be a lot more poised in what it is he's trying to convey. And he would be a lot more palatable for all the other readers who are actually listening to him. If he would have the practice of reading in mind in the process of all that he's been trying to do. I think he would have handled it differently if he would have been reading his entire life. I really believe that. So, yeah, I don't think that reading is the only way to learn, but I do think if you don't discipline yourself to learn, to read, you're missing out on some things you need. Simple as that. I really believe that. And I think the people who don't read often find themselves lost without that context and et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah, that's what I want to say. I hope Ye finds it in his heart to pick up some books and turn that around, bro. Turn that around. So, and then, as I always say, when we talk about Ye, I think the thing that ends up hurting him, and he's in this walk with God, so I know if the Lord wants him to figure this out, he'll figure it out. But I think what ends up hurting Ye is wanting the things that they have to offer. As long as you want what they have, they can always hold something over you. He has to let go of all that. You know, one of the things that I do in my life and praying and trying to build this channel, as slow as the process goes, I don't promote it like I should. So it's not like I'm looking for results in regards to promotion, but in regards to the process going slow and staying steady with it, I had to make an agreement with myself that I could live without certain things in order to have the leverage to speak my mind comfortably, to have full control over that mouth, etc. And one of those things is disciplining myself every day to tell myself that I don't need no applause. No applause. I say those things to myself every single day because I think it's the applause.
It's the approval of others. It's the need to be in acceptance of others, or it's the need to have certain art in my life, or it's the need to be able to do so. All of that stuff that I would otherwise need is why they can still hold anything over me. Do you understand what I'm saying? As long as I need their money, I have to sign their contracts, I'm in business with them, I got to yield to them and apologize to them about whatever it is I'm doing wrong, because I'm taking their money. If I'm doing something they don't approve of and I'm taking their money, then I got to calm down when it's time to raise hell, or that money is going to stop. If I'm looking to them for approval, if I've been idolizing different stuff that they've been flashing in my face all my life, and now I must have those things. When I go to fight the establishment and those things are at risk, it's like, I can't lose that. Or a situation like this, how I perceive it is Kanye West trying to get certain things from these people, trying to get certain approval, trying to get in business with these people so he can get their money and continue his fame and all these different things he's trying to get for himself and his clan, his people. And what he ends up finding is that is where they're able to hammer him. Now they're cutting off his Balenciaga this, now they're cutting off that, now they're telling him he can't do this, they're cutting off his Twitter, this, that, and the third. Why is all of that? Why is it that they're able to do things to him? It's because he first wanted things that they have. He needed their approval. You know, the one thing about Kanye always used to frustrate me, he's a brilliant artist, but he idolized artists before him. Non-black artists a lot of times. He would say, I'm the next great white person from the 1700s. I'm the next 1500s white person. I'm the next some random person we never heard of. And he idolizes these people more than the average black person does, I believe. And I think the presence of that is also in place, because he's getting shot down by these people. He's idolized their art. He's looked at all this stuff. He wanted to be just like them his whole life. And he gets into his position, one of the few black people who can ever get through them doors, and he gets through them doors, he's still fine, and he's an N-word. They're still treating him like N-word. Because it doesn't matter how much money you have. It's about just the pigment of the skin. You're always black, bro. So at the end of the day, just inherently, you're going to be exploited. You're going to be put in your place. You're going to be expected to stay in your place. And you're going to be expected to like it. And when you don't act like that, then it's going to be about whether or not they can use that leverage against you for all that stuff that you want that they have to get you to act the way they want you to act. I don't want none of that stuff they got. So what leverage do they have over me? How are they going to get me to shut up? They can't. They're going to kill me. I don't want nothing they have. And they can't keep me from nothing I want because I don't have anything. I'm at the bottom already. What they going to do? Take from me. Right? And so in my mind, it's like, okay, what do I give up? Well, everybody today ain't listening. Well, what is Ye dealing with everybody listening today? He said it himself. What'd he say? He said that not everything I'm doing, he said, it's not that I'm not right. It's that I'm not right now. Well, as a forever person, you got to identify that and not worry about everybody right now. That's why I'm not worried about applause, because applause is assuming I need approval from people who are alive today. When what I'm doing is not about today, it's about forever. The people who are going to be applauding and appreciating what it is I'm doing and really living for what it is that I'm doing, they ain't here yet. They're not here yet. All the people who are alive today, I ain't talking to none of them. Because the present is a fleeting moment. The future is all we have. So if everything is about right now, everybody's worried about their first week sales, everybody's worried about how they're going to get this, that, now, then you're losing sight of what it is that you're actually affecting with what it is you're doing. Because you ain't affecting right now with what you're doing, you're affecting forever, tomorrow with what you're doing. Now, the people who are in position to give you what it is that you want know that. They know that. They have the context of understanding that. They know you're looking at it short-sighted. They know you want today's numbers. They know you want everything right now. They don't want everything right now. They're in the middle of a 100-year plan. You feel me? Their plans are supposed to outlive them. And you talking about getting something right now. I got to get these numbers right now. How do numbers look right now? Who fucking cares about the numbers right now? What I care about is making sure what I'm saying can be understood, learn from, and all of that every day after this. Any day after this. And when the numbers need to make sense, they will. 25, 30, whatever year it is, they will make sense. This will be in the cloud to access. And so will everything else being recorded today, including everything Ye is doing. Things that people understand, the agreements that people have in their head right now, and the agreements he's trying to get them to understand later on. All of those people who are liberated and even evolve further past what it is he's trying to get us to see, they see it too. They're learning from the environment that he's describing in his words. See what I'm saying? It's like, and when you get that, when you really understand that and you provide certain context, what is it that he's really fighting for? Adidas? What the hell? What is that going to matter in 100 years? Gap? Are you kidding me? Anybody gonna be wearing them clothes? The only thing that's going to matter is the understanding, the context in which he was speaking, and the wisdom that people take from what it is he's talking about. It's going to be a different thing. It's going to be a different corporation tomorrow. It's going to be a different set of art that people are going to be trying. It's going to be different stuff. They're not going to even know what it is he's talking about in regards to these companies. Balenciaga? What the hell is Balenciaga? That's 2022 stuff. Ain't nobody going to know about that further down the road. Then it's only going to be what it is he was talking about. Context in which he was talking about. The lessons he learned. The vibes he was using. The energy he was engaging in as he was talking. That's all they're going to care about, bro. That's all they're going to feed off of. The fight that he's in, the big fights he's trying to involve himself in, trying to get, this stuff does not matter. It only matters because it matters to him. It only matters because he wants what they have. You listen to him talk about his brother Virgil and how he's still kind of mad at Virgil, still kind of jealous of Virgil. Virgil is with the Lord, bro. How you still jealous of this man? I know how. Idolizing the stuff they've been telling you to idolize. Wanting what they have. Wanting what he had. Oh, y'all fighting over the same position? They gave you the position to fight over. I always say this. When I look at two black men fighting over something, you know it's a white man above them who's putting them in a position to either have or not have what it is they're fighting over. 9 out of 10 times. Stop wanting what they have. Stop wanting what they have. Kanye West is Balenciaga. Kanye West is Gap. Kanye West is Adidas. That's the point. He's their best designer. Why the hell is he idolizing anything they got? This is what I always said about, I'm the next great Aristoteles, whatever names he would come up with. I never heard of these white people. I'm like, dude, you know you're more talented than them, right? Like, you're literally better than them at what you do. You're Kanye West. You're better than them. You don't have to be the next philosophies, Socrates, whatever the hell. That dude ain't have nothing on Kanye West at all. Like, literally. It always used to blow my mind. People he would be idolizing, I ain't never heard of them. I heard of you. You the guy, not them. They should be worshiping you as it pertains to the art. And that's my point. I think he's in the middle of trying to show us that without actually understanding himself. Like, brother, you the God. You're the one. You're the one. They are the money that's investing in you. You're the draw. You're going to be the forever person. Your music, your style, your vibes, everything that you're bringing to the table in your art, that's going to be something someone can behold 500 years from now. The business around it, irrelevant. Didn't even happen. What was the business surrounding the pyramids? What was the business surrounding the Eiffel Tower? Did anybody know what deals was made in order for the White House to actually be built? Nobody knows. Who cares? It's the art. It's there. That's it. We don't even know who made that stuff. And that's what I want to say. That's what I'm trying to get people to understand. Yes, is the business important? Is the day important? Is you getting your money important? Is you making your money important so you can give it to your kids? And all of that is very important, but you need to understand the context of what it is you're dealing with when you create certain things. You're leaving it here. So whatever it is you're involved in is irrelevant. It's just that. That from which you leave. So when you say certain things about George Floyd family shooting from the hip, that stuff is going to be captured for 500 years. And when the truth comes out and it's well understood, or when the truth was forgotten and people only see what you have to say, ain't nobody think about Adidas, Gap, the U.S. presidency. That's another one. They've always told us since we were little kids, you can be president. I don't want to be freaking president. I want to be Kanye West. You see what I'm saying? They've told us what we should want. They made us love ourselves. Let us hate ourselves and love their wealth. You said it yourself. Don't you know you reinforce that energy by the way that you behave? Yay. Giving these people all this credence, trying to get what they have. You don't need nothing that they have, bro. Create your own Balenciaga. Create your own Gap. So I'm at, like, at this point in time, it's like he wants too much from people and he needs to just find the God in himself, period. All this stuff he's looking for, all these different things. He's trying to get the approval of these people, trying to get them to treat us a certain way. We need to stop that entirely. Stop that. Stop that. Trying to get us to see ourselves. I appreciate that he's doing this because I'm watching people go crazy over this. Now they mad at him for pointing out the imbalances that are taking place between white people and stuff like that. It's like the imbalances that they face are real. They're real. They do have to walk on eggshells because of the presence of all this. Not to say that it's our fault. Not to say that it's not their grandparents' fault and their grandparents' fault for being in the position to create the environment for which all this takes place. I pointed it out. Ye pointed it out. And it's just there. It's not to be offended by. It's not for you to be insecure about as a black man saying, wait a minute, we had it worse though. That's childish, reactionary energy. That has nothing to do with the problem at hand. He's just identifying a problem. They ain't got nothing to do with my problem. It ain't what they eat don't make me poo. At all. They got an imbalance. They got to deal with some stuff. Yeah, he's saying that's exactly what it is. That shouldn't offend me. He put on a shirt that says White Lives Matter. I could think of 100,000 people that come to mind that immediately fit that bill in my heart. I'm not going to be offended by White Lives Matter shirt. That's learned behavior. The only person who would be offended by any Lives Matter shirt is a racist person who wants to retort the fact that that person doesn't matter. So why the hell am I going to give that energy to that phrase? I don't have that energy for that phrase. That's the energy I fought when the phrase was pointed in my direction. I don't like that energy when it's pointed anywhere. Why the hell am I going to engage in it? And that's the hypocrisy of us. He's trying to get us to see that. A black man is coming to show us ourselves and show them that we are able to see ourselves without their help because of people like him who can do things like this. And while everybody today is up in arms, because that's where everybody is today, you know, it's Gap, it's Adidas, it's being mad at white people for White Lives Matter shirts or whatever the thing is today. It's today, but just like I said about everything today, it's gone, and all that's left is the art and the wisdom that's left from the experience, from the display of what it is that was being done. That's all that's left. What it was and what you took from it. So I think when it's all said and done, when we're way past all this racism nonsense and people look at what Kanye West is talking about, they're just going to say, yep, that's what it was. Why? Because it was a culture that needed to make up for what was so bad in regards to how they treated blacks. So to try to make up for it, to try to make it right, there were going to be some white folks who were going to take the bottom half of the stick in order for that to happen. Because when you treat people poorly, how does it have to fix it? People have to be treated poorly in order for it to be fixed. That's all Kanye West identified. That because we were treated so poorly, now it's white folks being treated poorly because of it. That's what's happened. How is that a bad thing to identify that? If not for the presence of certain learned understandings that would otherwise make it so that I vilify him for pointing it out. Ain't nothing wrong with what he did. He pointed out the truth. And he pointed it out so that you would see that. Not because he was coming to the defense of whites. Not because he thinks that black people are supposed to get it worse. No, that's stupid thinking that would have you come to that conclusion that that's what he's trying to show you. He's trying to show you that you are going to do this when he does that. This happens when I do this for the last 3 weeks. That's all he's been doing. This is what happens when I do this. This is what happens when I do that. Don't you guys see how ridiculous that is? This is what happens when I do that. Look, I'm pressing a button. That's all he's been doing for the last 3 weeks. And people have been reacting the way they react, low frequency and stupid, in regards to the buttons he's pressing. You press the yellow button, and on the yellow button it says black people supposed to get upset. He pressed the yellow button and black people got upset. He pressed the red button that says Jewish people are going to now, at this point, from here, silence your voice because you said something crazy about the Jewish people. He pressed the red button and the Jewish people silenced him. He pressed another button, and in that button it says you're going to have issues with the Floyd family. They're probably going to try to take you for every bit of money that you can possibly get just for saying something like this, even though we know it's not necessarily malicious. Those of his enemies would indeed paint it out to be the worst thing in the world, and then from there, the family would use what they wanted to and their resources to effectively secure that bag. That's what happens when you press that button. He pressed that button. Don't you see? That's all he's been doing. Wear a White Lives Matter shirt. Everybody who's black is going to be pissed off. Everybody who's white is going to be confused. Let me press that button and see what happens. Boop. That's what they did. That's literally all he's been doing. And he's going to keep doing it. And we're going to keep watching, as I say we, because I feel like I'm standing on the outside of this. I'm not reacting the way everyone else is. And we're going to watch you all continue to do what it is that you do when certain buttons are pressed. It's like, bro, stop reacting to the stuff the way he wants you to react to it, because that's all he's trying to get you to see, is that you react to it that way. That's literally it. There's no other purpose to any of the stuff he's doing. He wants you to see your hypocrisy. So see it. Literally see it. And do something about it, man. Don't react to this stuff the way you're supposed to. Give some credence to what it is that others would want you to do when they do certain things that you want them to do. They put those buttons there for a reason. That's the point. Why are those buttons there? Trying to get those answers. He's trying to get those answers, and we're not in a space where we understand the frequency from which he's on. But luckily enough, I do. I get his frequency. I really understand it. And I get frustrated because I think he gets confused and he doesn't take it seriously and he gets a little lost in the sauce and he ends up using childish remedial responses to display his anger. And he mentioned that too, to display his hurt. He'll say, well, at least I got more money than you. I'm glad he mentioned that he did that, because it really is childish. It's super childish. And that's another thing. It's like he engages in childish reactionary behavior. So a lot of times people don't understand that because they hang on his every word. When honestly, he's just doing, I know you are, but what am I? It's literally what he's doing. I know you are, but what am I? It's like Kanye. I know you have a better response for that. Please give us something better than that. So that's what I see there, man. Ye means well, man, and I'm rooting for him, praying for him. You know what I'm saying? I have balance in regards to looking at him. I don't think he has it all right. I don't think he has it all wrong. I don't think he's like the greatest person in the world, and I certainly don't think he's a demon. I think he's a human being in a unique position that has more than anyone else, and because of it, he's doing stuff that no one else has done. And this is what it looks like. I'm glad he's doing it, because a lot of this stuff I was understanding, but some of the stuff I wasn't. Some of the buttons need to be pressed so I could see certain things. So thanks, Ye. Video 44. Thank y'all for watching.